want to thank you and welcome you to another live healing journey where we are the learning journey. We just thank you tonight for joining us and letting us come into your homes. And we just thank you for the opportunity so we can speak to you. Again, this is the learning journey. We are on this journey with you this evening. So again, thank you. Lee, welcome. Lee, welcome. Okay. Lee is having some little technical difficulties there. So again, we just thank you. We are
Thank you, Lynn.
501c3.
And welcome to all of you that are out there on Facebook and YouTube.
Okay. So again, we just thank you. Without further delay, I just want to introduce our special guest this evening. And I hope you're going to enjoy him as much as we have in learning the community outreach and everything that he does. This is the illustrious Dr. White. He is an educator, a legal analyst, and a pastor with over 25 years of professional experience. He and his wife are the pastors of the Montgomery City of Refuge. And you all that know me know I say he and his wife. Being a pastor's daughter, you know the wife is also in that as well.
Yep.
He has produced several radio talk shows, contributed to many scholarly works, published 3 books, and is currently finishing 3 or more topics of civil rights and spirituality. He has given scores of scholarly presentations and has served on many academic and community committees. He has served in leadership capacities in the AFL-CIO, the Alabama Education Association, and is currently the president of the Alabama State University Education Association on the National Education Association editorial board. In keeping with this legacy of social justice and legal advocacy, in 2019, students and faculty at Alabama State University and other institutions of higher learning created an organization to provide support to aspiring law students who attend HBCUs, and that is historical Black universities. Founded as the HBCU Legal Focus Group, this group would become an advocate for the rights of the incarcerated and underrepresented. The HBCU Legal Focus Group became a platform for formerly incarcerated persons, activists, educators, attorneys, and the family members of incarcerated persons. The students held weekly meetings, organized listening sessions, held prison reform conferences via social media, and published articles in national, state, and local newspapers and media platforms. The Alabama Legal Focus Group, which included professional citizen scientists, advocates, and concerned citizens. We want to welcome him here tonight because you know what? We're in this social justice movement together. And we told you we support you, we educate you, and we inform you on things that can help you on this journey. We know the journey's not easy. I'm on the journey with you. Lee has been there. It's not an easy journey, but our people perish for a lack of what? Knowledge. So we want to keep you knowledgeable about what goes on, what advocacies are out there, what resources are out there for you, and how people are fighting for you. Join in the fight. The most important thing you can do is register to vote. Voting can change things. So make sure you do that. Again, we're a 501c3 and we are a nonprofit organization. We're here to support and to help you. Just visit our website, ourlessonslearned.org, and you can read about the things that we're doing. We have plenty of community events coming up, and you can look on our website for that. But without further delay, Dr. White, welcome. We're ready to hear from you. Thank you.
All right. Thank you for having me. And it's a pleasure to be here. And hopefully I can answer your questions or engage in this discussion that can really benefit those people who are listening in.
Thank you. So tell us a little bit about your organization and what you do.
Okay, well, I will, good Lord willing, I will begin my 32nd year at Alabama State University in the fall, and I uh, teach African American studies, uh, known as also as Black studies, as Africana studies, but politically it's African American humanities. The title, everything's political, so we have to give it the political name. I also teach in the criminal justice department, and I teach the law part for the PhD program in educational leadership. And just before COVID hit, some students in my constitutional law class uh, began to meet to try to plan for people to come on campus to do law school prep workshops. And they came to me and asked for my help, and I told them they needed to follow in the pattern of student organizing, right? That was so prevalent on Tuskegee's campus, Alabama State's campus, North Carolina A&T, Fisk, Howard, Hampton, and start an organization. And so they started the HBCU Legal Focus Group initially for the purpose of bringing in people that can help them get into law school. Okay. It was originally incorporated by 4 students, Shemaya Marsh, um, Crystal Glover, my daughter, Charity White, Kirby Wayman. And so so they started off doing that. And then uh, the students that were in my con law class, uh, on the eve of COVID, right? This organization was founded on the day that we were uh, kicked off the campus.
Wow.
On the eve when everything shut down in Alabama, this organization was started. And I thought that's an excellent testimony, because just because you have things to happen like COVID, that doesn't mean the organization and the planning stops. You actually use opportunities like that to your benefit because everybody else is. So they never stopped meeting. They organized on Zoom, and they met once a week. And some of the things they did was they wrote papers on anticipating how the government was going to trample on the rights of people during COVID. I mean, it's great stuff. And then they started to invite people to listen in on the conversation, because we had other lawyers that would come and listen to the conversations that we would have. And so lawyers started getting involved, activists started getting involved, family members of incarcerated persons started coming on and sharing their testimony. So they voted to adopt prison reform as their legal focus. And so they hit the ground running. They formed an alliance with another group of renegade students at Auburn University called ASAP. And so they partnered with them, and they began to go full force at the Alabama prison system. The only problem is they didn't know what they were doing, which is good. It's that was great, because when you think you know what you're doing, that's when you're finna fail. But so they just started attacking everything. They hopped on social media, started getting information on the prison system. And next thing you know, we've got this cadre of information. We've got these networks that are being formed, and next thing they've organized to fight the private prisons. And coming to Alabama, the governor Kay Ivey was going to take the COVID money and build prisons off of the COVID money. Well, when these students got finished, that that initiative tanked. And I can say that it was those college students that did it, and the way that they did it is one for the record books. And so they got CNN involved, they got a whole lot of people involved, and basically threatened the shareholders of the corporations that were going to fund the private prisons, and ultimately shut that down. So that was amazing. And because I'm a lawyer, and we've got other lawyers that are a part of the group. We write amicus briefs for cases that involve incarcerated persons. We have lawyers that do pro bono work on that. We do issue briefs. We speak at public hearings. We wrote a book on critical race theory that we distributed out in Alabama to to different people. So During that COVID interval, we were not lackadaisical by any means. It was, everything went through the roof. I mean, we were constantly meeting. We published several articles. I published 3 books, and during that time, so my bio is a little outdated. But yeah, we did research projects and so forth. So if you're interested, in the law and advocacy, because that was one of the things that we teach, we offer a certificate in legal advocacy, which means that you can come and go through our. We have 3 tutorials that we go through, and you get a certificate at the end. And basically, it just teaches you how to advocate for people. It teaches you about how to build a platform, how to canvas, how to be an effective advocate, how to be a community organizer, all those type things, because it takes training in order to do those things. And so I received my training, one with the church, with church organizing, and with the labor unions. I'm a labor union organizer. And so you have to be trained on how to do this stuff. You just can't walk out and say you're doing it. And so that's one of the things that I think that the strength of this organization is that the emphasis that we place on training and knowing the issues as they are, right? So that's a little bit of the HBCU Legal Focus Group. We have a website, which is hbculfg.org, and you can become a member, and you can receive, just different notifications about the stuff we do on our website. Faculty members can post their papers, and we've got a whole cadre of stuff that's going to go up on our website next week. That's really going to change the configuration of it. But yeah, we're doing a lot. So I'll shut up.
I'm so excited about what you all are doing there. I'm so excited every time I see a graduation with young people graduating and going into law. We do need a complete overhaul of our legal system. So these are the young, gifted, minded people that are able to change. And under your direction and mentorship, they can't lose. This is wonderful. You mentioned another thing that was so poignant: COVID. All things work together for good. So look what COVID did. It birthed that program. And that was wonderful. As people were dying, things were being birthed as well. New programs and new things. So, the face needs to change of this nation and of our legal system. So I applaud you for what you're doing there and what the university is doing in the law school. You mentioned something else: learning as you go along. Leah and I know that firsthand because we call this the learning journey. We were given this to do. And we learn as we go along this journey. People have been coming to us. We want to join with you. This is a powerful social justice movement. And it's not just in Orlando, it's not just in Alabama. It is all around. If you look at the top prison systems, Mississippi is one, California, there needs to be change. South Carolina, there needs to be reform, there needs to be change. So I applaud you for what you're doing. And social media is definitely the key because this is where people connect now. Social media. When I was coming up, we didn't have social media, honey. We had a beeper, and that was it. My first cell phone was a big phone, but now people connect on social media. That is the best place to market and to get advocacy and to have people follow you. So I thank you for that. Lee, would you like to comment on what they're doing there in Alabama?
She talked to me about that South Carolina delay.
Yeah, there's a South Carolina delay, but we're not even going. We're not even going to worry about that because you know what? There's so much that
And
you
it happens
are doing.
every.
Lee, can you hear us now? It's okay.
Mhm.
It's not you. It's the system there. So we understand. Just we're looking at your pretty face. Dr. White, you also
Mhm,
mentioned your
mhm.
daughter is involved. How powerful is that?
Oh, it is. I
Thank
mean,
you. Has it so
it's a great
all the things that even
it's a great continuation. Yeah, she's doing some great things. She was one of the founding members of the organization, and she's graduated from North Carolina Central School of Law now, and she's preparing to. She's already practicing under a third year law license. She's prosecuting, and the beautiful thing is that um, one of the things is she also uh, she's also very spiritually gifted, and truth be told, she's my prophet. So she keeps me
Oh,
she keeps me abreast of everything that's going on, you know. But um, but yeah, but she and her colleagues have entered in, and they're struggling with the same things that you know that we teach, you know. And it is just because you have African Americans going into something, that doesn't mean that they're going to be equal and fair and righteous. So there's always a contingency, right, between the individual and the group. And so if we don't teach courage, and my daughter has taken very courageous stands, even when she was in college, even when she was in high school. You know, that pretty much isolated her in a way, but at the same time, she earned a very valuable reputation, and so that is playing itself out now, because she's the type of person, she sticks to her guns. She's not easily intimidated. She speaks her mind. She speaks the truth. And basically, she told me the other night. She said, "Daddy, I'm not concerned about my feelings being hurt. I'm just concerned about being right, you know, in the courtroom." So, and that's what we have to have. You know, we have to have people that have conviction, people that are willing to stand up for what's right, even if it's unpopular. A lot of the injustice, sad to say, a lot of the injustice that's going on is actually our people doing it to themselves. You know,
yes,
so
yes,
you know, even in the Black Belt of Alabama, we have such miscarriages of justice, and we find ourselves, you know, having to confront, you know, even our own more so, you know, on civil rights violations, constitutional violations, procedural violations, and so forth. And we have to be just as diligent, just as fervent, you know, when dealing with them as when dealing with, you know, with anyone else. But you have to have courage, and the courage comes from the conviction, you know, that you possess. And if you're convicted about what you believe in, if you believe in it,
yes,
then you know you're not going to have a problem persuading other people, you know, or approaching other people with what you believe.
yes,
So um, you know, when you know that you're advocating, one of our members, who's a part of the Ordinary People Society, another one concerned citizens of Alabama. She basically came up with a subtitle or a sub theme for our organization, which is "Hope for the Hopeless." And you know, when you're dealing with people who have no hope,
hmm,
and they find out that you're advocating for them, I mean, do you know the level of support that you get?
yes.
I mean, there's not a prison we can't go in, you know. And people always say, I do prison ministry too, and I've never been afraid in prison. I've never been scared. I've never felt like my life was in danger. It's been nothing but love and respect, because
wonderful.
when people know you're coming to visit them, and they know that you have something to offer, they're going to do everything to make sure that you are not only protected, but you feel as comfortable as they can possibly make you to be. If it's nothing but handing you a Dixie cup of water with a napkin over it. You know what I'm saying? They love you and they respect you because you're there to advocate on their behalf. You know, we have the prisons in the state of Alabama, and the prison system in the state of in the United States is the worst in the world.
Yes, it is.
We You have people living in worse than third world conditions. They're having to take cold showers in the wintertime, not having sewage, having to stand in feces and urine up to their ankles.
Hmm,
You
hmm,
know, spider bites and sepsis and all types of infections are typical. The rape in prison is
yes.
uncontrollable.
Hmm.
Homelessness in prison is uncontrollable. Extortion is uncontrollable. and a lot of it is actually perpetrated by the administration.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so, if that's taking place in the prisons, just think what's taking place on the street.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
yeah, so we find ourselves having to confront, as what the Black Panthers discovered, as what Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee discovered, as what the Southern Christian Leadership, Montgomery Improvement Association, Dallas County Voters League, Freedom Summer, everybody, we know that when we confront white supremacy, we're confronting a criminal enterprise.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to approach it like that. And it's everywhere from preachers
Mm.
to sheriffs to judges to, I mean,
It
you're
is.
approaching the kingdom of darkness, and you have to look at it like that. I mean,
Exactly.
you have to look at it like you're approaching the wicked evil kingdom. But when you look in the scripture, uh, Joseph, Moses, Daniel, Ezra, Nehemiah,
Mm-hmm.
Esther,
Mm-hmm.
all were vassals for wicked governments. They
Mm-hmm.
worked their way up that
Mm-hmm.
wicked but when it came time for them to advocate for their people, God took away the choice. See,
Mm-hmm.
because a lot of black people have a choice. Either they can sit there and watch their people suffer and turn their face and become a part of the problem, right? Or they can open their eyes and see the suffering of their people and advocate for their people using the position that they have as leverage to get things done to help people.
Yeah,
So, so that has to be enforced. It has to be
that's
chastised. It
right.
has to be challenged. And we do. We have to be troublemakers, and we have to, kind of be looked at as being the problem, purely because of what we bring up and how unwavering we are in making sure that these ethical aspects are protected.
You're so right with everything you said. And, people say, where you come up with this? It is written. It is written. If you do the research on the prison systems in the United States, it's astounding to see what's going on. It's just something on
Sure,
death row.
sure,
All of these things. It's just, Florida system here, we're number 3 in the nation, and it's just something. There has to be a reform,
sure,
and we like to work with restorative practices because we didn't know anything about restorative practices, but being in this social justice movement, when you start doing your research, you're finding out different things that you did not know before that can save a life from going to have to sit down for years with angry upon angry. It's a community building effort. I don't know. I'm sure you're familiar with restorative practices
sure, sure.
and how that works to help, you know, but it's just something that it has to change. And together we can make that change. One other thing I wanted to ask you, has this program gone along to the other HBCUs, such as FAMU has a law school, and beyond the HBCUs, has it gone to the other legal campuses?
With participating faculty, yes,
Okay.
because the strategy is to get because the faculty do the recruiting, you know,
Okay.
and so we're primarily focusing actually on undergrad. So we're looking to get start with college freshmen, because preparing them right for the journey is of utmost importance. Law school prep starts, soon as you hit the college campus as a
Yeah.
freshman with no hours. So sure, we are recruiting in the undergrad, and we have faculty from different law schools that have contributed, and it's just amazing how God works, because we have gotten help from so many different people just by them coming on the Zoom call, because we have some of the top trial attorneys in the country that
Wow.
came on our Zoom call, and
Wow.
they're able to offer advice, and at the same, well, they don't give legal advice, but they're able to offer their expertise on certain areas, but they also learn, because we're able to when I was a legal counsel for the Alabama Education Association, um, I told a bunch of preachers this yesterday because the preachers have organized too. We've organized the preachers, and we're going to do a public walk-in at a public hearing in the legislature on the 24th of this month. And so we were training them tomorrow on how to do that. And so we going back to the way we going back to the training, baby. I mean,
I love it.
You have to organize and mobilize and train. So we had about 30 pastors at my church yesterday, and that's what we did. We talked about organization, mobilization, and conceptualization, right? The steps. And so once you spell it out to them, oh, they know exactly what the
Wow. That's something.
you know, and that's what a lot of people miss out on, is that organizational uh, uh, chart
Mm-hmm.
that, that is
We just lost you a little bit there. Don't know what's going on, but can you hear us?
to accomplish phone calls that they got from other inmates. We have people that have family members that have learned that their child, and they learned it because other inmates called on cell phones that they weren't supposed to have. And families get no information. We even had an incarcerated person. The DOC returned his body to the family with missing organs. His heart was missing. His lungs were absolutely. Just Google it. And nobody can say what happened to him. Well, what happened is that they're harvesting organs. See, this is a very, very vicious, demonic system.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
And when you approach it, you have to use spiritual warfare. You can't.
Yes.
As clothes, you know, when you go before, you are approaching a Pharaoh or Nebuchadnezzar or
yes
or a Herod or somebody like that. Yeah, they're doing some very diabolical things. So
that's something. That is something. Missing organs. Oh my! I can't even. Whoo! Can't even think about.
Yeah, we just got out of federal court with that issue a couple last month.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's so much that happens that people need to do some research, you know, on how can they help with the change? How can we work together to change? It starts with you and me, not just me. It starts with you and me. That's why our mission is to support, educate, and inform. And that is so important that you have the knowledge of how can things change. Together we make change. Together we fight for what's right, and we work together for that. So it's something. But I just thank you for the work that you're doing, and I'm sure that your church and your parishioners are behind you 100% in the community, and how you're bridging that gap. Because see, when you work in the community, it brings the community together. You know, growing up, it was mama and them. Everybody worked together. If your neighbor saw you doing something wrong, then your neighbor would get after you, and it was a community raising the child. And we don't do that anymore, and I still think that can be effective in our communities. Are you all with me? Your signal is going just a little low, Dr. White, but we urge you to join these advocacy groups. And there are some bills that are in legislation, and there are some things that are happening. And remember that each state has different laws. So research the laws of your state. That is what is important, that you research those laws in your state. Well, she said this and he said that. Read it for yourself, and always make sure that you read the fine print. That is what is so important. That fine print, because that is going to tell you exactly, okay, well, it said this, but did you read that? And that is important. Lee, would you like to comment on anything that you heard this evening?
I'm still doing, my connection is still bouncing a little bit. It's wonderful information that we received tonight and stuff. We have to have Dr. White back again, my broadcast, when we can fit it in and things are working a little bit better or so. Excellent, excellent, excellent. I'm so glad that we were able to have him.
I was too. But you know what was so important? Look what COVID did. It brought out the good, the bad, and the ugly. Look what COVID did.
Yes.
The Bible says that what man poses for evil, God will turn around for our good.
Always.
So look at all the things that transpired during that time period. So it's so important that, we don't look at the problem or how big the mountain is. We look at ways to get around it, and we make that, toss that mountain into the sea. We got to cast it into the sea, and we got to keep on looking for solutions. And that is what is important. I know these can be some hurting times when, you talk to your loved one and you just want to be there. You want them to be with you and things of that nature. But this is the time to try to, let's make change so another person doesn't have to go through what we're going through. That is our mission. From our lessons learned, Lee and I want to make sure that we try to help and support someone else. And as he said, about the hope for the hopeless, Lee and I did a show on hope, and you have to be hopeful. And we're hoping that change will definitely come. So, Dr. White, I think, is having some issues. And, he says that everything begins with organizing, and we must teach the science of political organization. This is a season. If we ever needed you to vote, this is a season that we say register to vote. You get frustrated, my vote won't count and this and that. Every vote counts. Okay? Things are said to deter you. But we make change based on advocating together for change. There are several groups, Reform Alliance, every day they're doing big things in New York, and it's touching the nation. There are things that are happening. So we invite you to stay with us, stay tuned. With next 2 weeks, we have somebody that's going to be on and talk about her husband, and he's incarcerated, and what a struggle it is, but how she is turning life around and fighting for change. So together we're fighting. We won't give up that fight. We are fighting for change. So until we see you in 2 weeks, we thank you for allowing us to come into your hearts, your minds, and your home. And we pray that you never give up hope. Keep hope alive, because there are miracles that can happen. Lee, would you like to say anything, Lee? Lee? Okay. Well, again, we're going to have Dr.
I'd
White
love to
back
say
on. And
a whole lot.
okay.
Can you hear me there, Lynn?
You a little bit. You can go ahead. See
Yeah.
if you,
Yeah, so we're having some
Yeah.
technical
Yeah.
problems today.
Well, we're not even gonna worry about it. We know the devil is always busy. He don't want information to get out. So we're just gonna leave it like that. We
That's
thank
right.
Dr. White for his powerful um teaching tonight, and that's why he keeps on advocating for change. And we thank him for, we need more
Hmm.
community leaders such as Dr. White that are advocating for this change. And then if anybody's interested in learning more about political organizing, he's available to do workshops and strategy sessions. So you know what, you're around the world here, around the nation, get in touch with him, and he will definitely he will definitely be able to assist you and have strategy lessons on how we can make change together. Remember, change comes when we band together. So good night, Facebook family. We thank you. Good night for our YouTube, and we thank you and have a very good evening. Lee, would you like to say good night?
Thank you. I'd love to all of our audience to Reverend Dr. and to us. We hope that there were some said that will help you along your journey, along your way. I mentioned that I have gotten through, even through the technological breakdowns and stuff, I'm able to hear some of this stuff, and I'm looking forward to getting it all, piecing it all together. Certainly, Lynn, we'd love to have Dr. White on again.
Oh yeah, definitely. Definitely.
Love to
We
have him
never know
on.
what the
And
signals.
yes, we
Yes.
can, that's right. And maybe we can some of those workshops and also.
Yes, definitely. Yes, we can have that, have him come, and that would be wonderful. So again, good night, everybody. Thank you.